How much does it cost to live on Lake Murray in South Carolina? How much is a home right here on the lake with your own private dock that you can park your boat at? What about those lake neighborhoods? The one that have boat ramps right out to the water, boat storage, or even deeded boat slips that you can park your boat at right there in the neighborhood. That's right, in this video we're breaking down living on Lake Murray in South Carolina. Not only the need to know information, but the current cost of living on Lake Murray, as we have homes in some of those lake neighborhoods from around $200,000 up to homes on the lake for $3 million and up, and everything in between. And again, that need to know information. Where are the public boat ramps that you can use if you don't live in one of those neighborhoods? The marinas. As well, who's allowed to have a dock on the lake? Because not everybody is. That and so much more as we dive into living on Lake Murray in South Carolina right here in 2024. And for those, this is your first time learning about Lake Murray in South Carolina. Lake Murray is a 50,000 acre lake right here in the Midlands of South Carolina in the Lexington and Columbia area. It is a man-made lake that was created by damming up the Saluda River back in the 1920s. It is made up of 4 different counties. On the west side, the more rural side in Saluda and Newberry County. And on the east side of the lake, with shorelines resting on the edges of the popular towns and suburbs of Chapin, Irmo, Ballantyne, and Lexington. It has around 650 miles of shoreline, which is a mix between residential, protected fringeland, public boat ramps, camping sites, marinas, restaurants, and more. It is considered the jewel of South Carolina, and one of the big highlights is the Lake Murray Dam Walk, a 1.7 mile walking path that runs along the east side of the lake, where the dam is. It spans from the Lexington side of the lake to the Irmo side of the lake. It is home to many fishing tournaments, boat parades, holiday celebrations, dining on the dam, and so much more. Now, while you currently won't find any hotels on Lake Murray, there's a variety of different homes and neighborhoods on Lake Murray from a variety of different price points that we will cover in this video. All right, so as we dive into pricing on Lake Murray, we're getting kicked off with those neighborhoods with boat ramps right there in the neighborhood. And after, I'll talk about a very common misconception about some of these neighborhoods that you'll want to know. But before we dive in, there's tons of lake neighborhoods on Lake Murray that I hope you consider. My goal was to highlight those that I get asked about the most and show in the most. And for those that don't know who I am, my name is Brandon. My team and I of local real estate agents have truly been helping people from all over the country relocate right here to the Midlands of South Carolina, Lexington, Columbia, and the beautiful Lake Murray. So please don't hesitate to reach out. That way you don't have to go at this alone. The Kingston Harbor neighborhood in Lexington. This neighborhood is zoned for River Bluff High School. Homes in this neighborhood were built between 2010 and 2017. Homes in this neighborhood range from 2,596 square feet up to 6,980 square feet. As far as amenities, it's a partially gated neighborhood. They do have a clubhouse, they have a pool, tennis courts, walking trails, and that boat ramp for you to get your boat on the lake. In the last year, homes sold between 2,792 square feet and 5,698 square feet. Homes selling between $525,000 and $1,025,000, with an average of $855,000. An average price per square foot of $205, and an average of 15 days on market. The Settlers Point neighborhood in Lexington. This neighborhood is zoned for River Bluff High School. Homes in this neighborhood were built between 2006 and 2011. Homes ranging from 1,685 square feet up to 5,000 square feet. This neighborhood does feature a boat ramp, which is actually across the street from the neighborhood, as there are no homes right there on the water. Pick this neighborhood because of the convenient location. In the last year, homes sold between 2,221 square feet and 3,500 square feet. Homes selling between 291,000 and 415,000, with an average of 374,000. Average price per square foot $127, and an average of 18 days on market. The Spence Plantation neighborhood in Lexington. This neighborhood is zoned for Lexington High School. This highly sought after neighborhood is built with estate-style homes that were built between 1993 and 2008. Homes are ranging from 2,450 square feet up to 9,908 square feet. In the last year, homes sold between 3,942 square feet and 5,182 square feet. Prices ranging from $870,000 up to $1.3 million, with an average of $1,085,000. Average price per square foot at $249, and an average of 10 days on market. In this neighborhood, they did have homes that sold on the lake. A 5,107 square foot house for $2,800,000, and a 5,063 square foot house for $2,999,000. Both that sold in one day. For your information, stick around if that knocked your socks off and kind of discouraged you about on-lake homes, as those were some of the highest priced homes that sold on the lake. Again, I will also talk about what was active on the lake at the time I recorded this to give you a better idea of what you can afford on the lake. The Sunset Bay neighborhood in Lexington. This neighborhood is zoned for Lexington High School. They have a cabana with beachfront sand area. They have a first come, first served dry storage, as well as kayak storage and a boat ramp to take your boat on the lake. This neighborhood was built between 2014 and 2021. Homes in this neighborhood range from 1,335 square feet to 2,894 square feet. In the last year, homes sold between 1,511 square feet and 2,854 square feet. Pricing ranging between $315,000 and $446,000. With an average of $373,000, average price per square foot of $170, and an average of 20 days on market. This neighborhood did have homes that sold on the lake. A 1,984 square foot house for $730,000, and a 2,221 square foot house for $800,000. Both of these actually had shared docks, which brings up a very good point that you need to understand. We'll talk more about some of the rules and restrictions later on, but while we're on the topic, one of the rules in order to be approved for a dock nowadays is that you have to have at least 100 feet of water frontage to get approved for that dock. So what happened in some scenarios is if they didn't have 100 feet, two neighbors could get together, have that 100 feet total, and have a shared dock where they would share the responsibilities of that dock. Again, we'll dive into more rules a little bit later on, but that has been the rule for some time. Yes, you will find some older homes years ago that were grandfathered in and may have less than 100 feet that have it, but this is the current ruling. The Marina Cove neighborhood in Lexington. This neighborhood is zoned for Gilbert High School. This neighborhood does have a community pool, boat storage, as well as that boat ramp. These are unique houses, kind of like log cabins. They're listed under some different styles in our MLS, but what it feels like to me is just kind of small log cabins. Now, some of them you will see do have the wood that rolls into the interior. Others are drywall and not entirely cedar, or starting to see some vinyl ones. Anyways, they were built between 2001 and some new ones in 2024. They're smaller homes ranging from 566 square feet up to 1,900 square feet, and is the most budget-friendly pricing we'll talk about. In the last year, homes sold between 576 square feet and 1,610 square feet. Homes selling between $223,000 and $315,000, with an average of $265,000. Average of $249 per square foot, and an average of 30 days on market. The Palmetto Shores neighborhood in Chapin. This neighborhood is zoned for Chapin High School. These homes were built by Mungo and started back in 2015 and currently still have phases that are building right there in the neighborhood. That's right, you can find new construction on Lake Murray, and we'll talk about more later on. Homes in this neighborhood range from 1,700 square feet up to 6,300 square feet. They do have a boat ramp. They have two pools, first come, first served paid, boat storage, kayak storage, and a section of the neighborhood that does include your front yard maintenance. In the last year, homes sold between 1,709 square feet and 4,517 square feet. Pricing ranging from $368,000 up to $694,000, with an average of $524,000. Average price per square foot of $177, and an average of 70 days on market. The Palms at Rocky Point in Irmo. This neighborhood is located in Irmo and is zoned for Irmo High School. Homes in here were built between 2004 and 2021. Homes ranging from 2,050 square feet to 5,615 square feet. They do have a pool, clubhouse, dry boat storage, a boat ramp, and a section that advertises front yard maintenance. Now, nothing has sold in this neighborhood since 2022. And back in 2022, 5 homes sold, 3 of which were brand new and 2 resales. Pricing ranged from $395,000 up to $785,000 on a home that was on a lake with the shared dock. Again, this is so distant that I don't think these prices are relevant anymore, but I wanted to give you an idea. The Landings in Lexington. This neighborhood is zoned for Lexington High School. Homes in this neighborhood range between 1,700 square feet and 7,007 square feet. Homes built from 1980 to 2017. Does have a community boat ramp. There's no more amenities, but I have shown it here quite a few times, and so that's why it made the list. In the last year, homes sold between 2,242 square feet and 2,507 square feet. Homes ranging from 460,000 up to 570,000, with an average of 512,000. Average price per square foot at $215 and an average of 11 days on market. This neighborhood did have 3 homes that sold on the lake. A 3,000 square foot home for $800,000, a 2,971 square foot home for $920,000, and a 3,000 square foot house for $1,067,500. The Clearwater neighborhood in Irmo. This neighborhood is zoned for Irmo High School. These homes were built between 1988 and 2000. Homes in this neighborhood range from 1,800 square feet to 4,300 square feet. Amenities in here include that boat ramp, dry boat storage, as well as tennis courts, and there is a section of courtyard homes in the neighborhood. In the last year, homes sold between 1,932 square feet and 2,897 square feet. Homes selling between $373,000 and $470,000, with an average of $402,000. Average of $165 per square foot and an average of 7 days on market. Now, another important thing I always share with people that are considering these lake neighborhoods. Yes, some of them do have boat storage in the neighborhoods and it's on a first come first served basis. With that said, a lot of them do not allow you to park your boats right there in your driveway. That's correct. There are some, and that's where we say reach out to us so we can help narrow those down for you if that's something that's important to you. Because obviously if not, and that boat storage is full, you're back at square one of finding somewhere to park your boat. And while yes, there are pay storage units around the area, it's something to keep in the back of the mind. And I know it takes some people by surprise when I tell them that. They just assume that, hey, it's a lake neighborhood, you can do that. All right, so in this section, we're gonna be talking about those neighborhoods with boat slips right there in the neighborhood. Obviously a big perk many of you ask me about. And later, when I dive into cost of homes on Lake Murray and talk about where the public boat ramps are, I'll also share where the marinas are if you wanted to slip your boat and didn't end up in one of these neighborhoods. And as we dive into this, it brings up some very important information about Lake Murray. So the lake is currently managed by Dominion Energy. Prior to it was SCE&G. It's a hydroelectric dam that provides energy for the area. Technically, they own up to what is called the 360 line. And basically at full capacity, the lake is 360 feet above sea level. And it's not 360 feet deep. Actually, it's about 190 feet deep at the deepest part. But either way, essentially anything beyond that line, you would need permission from Dominion to be able to do anything, including clearing trees, adding pumps for irrigation, and adding a dock. And there are rules for what you can and can't do. For instance, they no longer allow covered docks. And I'll share a link to Dominion's site in the description below, and later I'll dive into more pertinent information about that 360 line, so you'll want to stick around. But these communities that we're talking about, they essentially got permission to build their own private marina. With that said, there are oftentimes not enough boat slips for the entire neighborhood. Some of them there are, and I will let you know which ones. But with that said, the ones that didn't, essentially what happened is when the neighborhood started, they would sell off a deed to one of the slips. That way it was recorded with the county that you legally had rights to that slip. When the homeowner sells, they have a few options. They have every right to transfer that deed with the sale of property, and many actually do to entice buyers to buy their property. They can also sell it separately to that owner for an additional fee, or they can sell it to another homeowner in the neighborhood or pass it off to another homeowner in the neighborhood on the wait list. The Cedar Cove neighborhood. This neighborhood is zoned for Chapin High School. Homes in here were built between 1987 and 2008. Homes ranging from 1,460 square feet up to 3,169 square feet. Amenities include boat storage, tennis courts, and boat slips. Now, of course, after I just went on my spiel about deeded boat slips, Cedar Cove is different, and there is one more neighborhood that is too. And it is different that theirs are not deeded, and they are actually managed and leased out. As far as their slips, they advertise that the docks are leased out annually to Cedar Cove residents only, if available. They have a total of 65 boat slips, 1 visitor slip, 15 seasonal slips, and 49 annual slips. Dock slips are available on a first-come, first-served basis with continuing contracts every year. In the last year in this neighborhood, homes sold between 1,877 square feet and 2,159 square feet. Homes selling between 300,000 and 425,000, with an average of 346,000. Average of $172 per square foot and an average of 42 days on market. The Cherokee Shores neighborhood in Lexington. This neighborhood is zoned for Lexington High School. It is built between 2006 and 2022. Homes ranging from 2,400 square feet up to 5,300 square feet. The community features clubhouse, pool, boat ramp, boat storage, and deeded boat slips that can be sold with the property. In the last year, homes sold between 2,645 square feet and 3,000 square feet. Homes selling between $548,000 and $877,000, with an average of $713,000. Average price per square foot at $250 and an average of 1 day on the market. The Turner's Point neighborhood in Lexington. This neighborhood is zoned for Lexington High School. Homes in here were built between 2007 and 2018. Homes ranging from 2,273 square feet up to 7,000 square feet. This neighborhood includes deeded slips for all of the interior lots. It is a gated neighborhood that includes a pool, clubhouse, tennis courts, and that boat ramp. In the last year, homes sold between 2,738 square feet and 4,600 square feet. Homes selling from $600,000 up to $959,000, with an average of $756,000, and an average of $203 per square foot, an average of 42 days on market. The Pintail Point neighborhood in Lexington. This neighborhood is zoned for Gilbert High School. These homes were built between 2005 and 2022, with lots still selling in the neighborhood and new homes being built. Homes in here range from 2,200 square feet up to 5,795 square feet. There are 100 deeded slips that were open for purchase at first come, first serve. Again, they can be transferred in the sale of the home. Otherwise, amenities include tennis court, a pool, clubhouse, that boat ramp, and walking trails. Homes in the last year sold between 2,765 square feet and 3,100 square feet. Homes selling from $590,000 up to $632,000, with an average of $727,000. Average price per square foot at $209, and an average of 111 days on market. This neighborhood did have a home that sold on the lake. That home was 2,600 square feet and sold for $960,000. Lakeside Reserve at Pintail Point in Lexington. This is a gated section of the exact same neighborhood we talked about. Therefore, it would include all of those amenities I prior talked about on top of being gated. These homes were built between 2006 and 2021. Homes in here range from 1,900 square feet up to 4,677 square feet. One home sold in the last year, a 2,387 square foot house for $355,000, which brought it to $149 per square foot, and it was on the market for 21 days. The Paradise Cove neighborhood in Chapin. This neighborhood is currently zoned for Chapin High School. Most of the homes were built by Mungo Homes between 2017 and 2021, with possible future phases. Now, there were a few homes as early as 2007 that were in the neighborhood prior to Mungo coming in and building. But either way, they all range between 1,346 square feet and 4,140 square feet. Each home in this neighborhood does get an assigned boat slip as well. That's right, everybody gets a slip. There's a boat ramp to access the water and is a gated neighborhood. In the last year, homes sold from 1,346 square feet up to 2,248 square feet. Homes selling from $380,000 up to $500,000, with an average of $449,000. Average price per square foot of $251 and an average of 44 days on market. The Night Harbor neighborhood in Chapin. This neighborhood is zoned for Chapin High School. Homes in this neighborhood were built between 1990 and 2023, with some new construction still out there. There's approximately 200 lots in the neighborhood, and they are doing that extension of new homes. Homes range from 1,800 square feet to 4,773 square feet. As far as amenities in this neighborhood, there are going to be deeded boat slips that are first come, first serve, dry boat storage, boat ramp, and a clubhouse. In the last year, homes sold between 2,077 square feet and 3,200 square feet. Homes selling from $310,000 up to $552,000, with an average of $477,000. Average price per square foot of $185 and an average of 38 days on market. Lakeside at Ballantyne in Chapin. This neighborhood is zoned for Chapin High School. There's approximately 170 homes in this neighborhood that were built between 2002 and 2009, with homes ranging from 1,977 square feet up to 4,712 square feet. This neighborhood includes those first come, first served slips that can be sold with the sale of the house or individually. Outside of that, there's a boat ramp, there's a pool, and a clubhouse. This neighborhood is unique in the fact that while there are homes on the lake, they cannot have a dock. The lakefront is all considered common area and is not a part of those homes' property. In the last year, homes sold between 27 to 50 square feet and 3,738 square feet. Homes selling from $442,000 up to $615,000, with an average of $532,000. Average price per square foot of $161 and an average of 22 days on market. The Tatler's Wharf neighborhood in Irmo. This neighborhood is zoned for Dutch Fork High School. This is a small neighborhood built of only 32 homes. Homes in here were built between 1990 and 2006. However, there are some newer ones that were more recently built. Either way, homes range from 1994 square feet up to 5,325 square feet. There is a boat ramp, and every single home in here does get a boat slip. In the last year, one home sold for $439,000, a 2532 square foot house, which brought it to $173 a square foot, and it sold in 12 days. The Harbor Watch neighborhood in Lexington County. This neighborhood is zoned for Lexington School District 3, zoned for Batesburg-Leesville High School. Homes in here started back in 2001, built all the way to 2023. That's right, with some of the remaining lots sold not long ago and built on. Homes in here range from 1,788 square feet up to 7,100 square feet. There are those first come, first served deeded slips that again can be transferred with the sale of property or given up at sale to go to somebody on the wait list. This is a very amenity rich neighborhood. It is a gated neighborhood with 16 acres of green space, including areas to watch the sunrise over the lake. There's that boat ramp, a pool, fitness center, clubhouse, golf cart paths, playground, putting greens, and tennis courts. In the last year, homes sold between 2,534 square feet and 3,500 square feet. Homes ranging from $559,000 up to $680,000, with an average of $659,000. Average of $223 per square foot and an average of 16 days on the market. There was one home that sold on the lake, a 3,515 square foot house for $825,000. Timberlake and Chapin. This neighborhood is zoned for Chapin High School, and it's a master plan community made up of multiple sections. There really is only one section that is a community boat ramp, but the true perk of this neighborhood is the Marina and Country Club right in the neighborhood. While it's not associated directly with the neighborhoods and HOA, the Timberlake Country Club does offer golf. Now, if golf is not your thing, they also have social only memberships with a restaurant, the pool, fitness center, tennis, and social events. Now, outside of that, you do have the marina, as mentioned, right there in the neighborhood. This marina is not a part of the HOA. This marina has 200 slips, and there are multiple options depending on what you're trying to slip at the marina. And you can inquire with them to find out what that pricing is, as they've removed it from all their websites. Homes in this neighborhood were built between 1987 and 2024. With homes ranging from 1,300 square foot to 13,000 square feet. Fun fact, that house is the highest price closing showing right now in the history of our MLS, which closed just shy of $4 million back in 2021. It was a 3.4 acre lot and had an impressive 800 feet of shoreline. Either way, in the last year, homes sold from 2,020 square feet up to 5,900 square feet. Pricing from $385,000 up to $685,000, with an average of $560,000. Average of $189 per square foot and an average of 69 days on market. In Timberlake, there were 10 homes that sold on the lake, ranging from 2,300 square feet up to 9,986 square feet. Homes selling from $735,000 up to $3 million, with an average price of $1.225 million. Now let's talk about some brand new neighborhoods that recently came to Lake Murray, and we get started with Stewart's Landing. And both these neighborhoods did what I like to call flash sales. Essentially, they sold off the lots on these weekend flash sales. And Stewart's Landing took a little bit longer to sell all of them. But either way, you would come in and I want lot 56, I want 24, right? Versus a developer coming in and building out all those. And essentially, of course, people bought them for their own private use, but you also had builders that would come in and buy lots and build houses and are now turning around and selling them. And we'll talk about that in just a second here, as there are some homes that have sold in the last year. But otherwise, this neighborhood itself does feature a clubhouse, tons of green space, private 110 slip community marina with power and water. Either way, 3 new homes sold in the last year, 2,124 square foot up to 3,171 square feet, ranging from $625,000 up to $829,000, with an average of $728,000, which brought that to an average of $269 per square foot and an average of 44 days on market. Currently, there are 8 new homes for sale in this neighborhood and 1 resale for sale on the lake. The Whitewater Landing neighborhood in Chapin. This is the newest of these developments. At this point, 0 homes have closed in the neighborhood, but we will talk about what's active in here to get you an idea of pricing. They do say that they're going to offer community pool, clubhouse, private boat storage, and access to Lake Murray right there. There are 6 active homes from 2,415 square feet up to 3,319 square feet. Pricing ranging from $635,000 up to $851,000, with an average right around $753,000. And while it doesn't look like Whitewater Landing is slated to have its own boat ramp, it is actually just around the corner from the Rocky Point public boat ramp out here in Chapin. And just a little bit, I will be talking about where the rest of these boat ramps are so you can learn more about that. Now, over the years, I've had people ask, why don't you make videos about condos? I have sold condos on Lake Murray. However, a majority of people are looking for single family homes, but I'm gonna give you a general idea of what condos cost on Lake Murray and not dive into all the specific complexes. Condos, what I could find, were built between 1974 and 2008 on Lake Murray, ranging from 953 square feet up to 2,601 square feet. Pricing from $180,000 up to $399,000, with an average around $258,000. Average price per square foot of $163 and an average of 39 days on market. Now, obviously being condos, their HOAs are quite a bit more expensive because of what it covers. What I could find is HOAs ranging from $212 a month up to $551 a month. Now let's talk about those public boat ramps and marinas for if you don't have a slip in your neighborhood or you don't end up in one of these neighborhoods with a boat ramp. The Lake Murray North Lake Boat Ramp, the Shoal Island Boat Ramp, Hilton Wreck Boat Ramp, Rocky Point Boat Ramp, Dreher Island State Park, Riverbend and Murray Shores Boat Ramp, Sunset Rec Area Boat Ramp. Diving into marinas, Lake Murray and Lighthouse Marina, Putman's Landing Marina, Jake's Landing Marina, South Shore Marina, Big Man's Marina, Lake Murray Resort and Marina. So we were actually members of Lake Murray Resort and Marina years ago. We didn't have a boat, but we were part of the resort. They actually had a beachfront over there where they had drinks, private beach sand area on the lake. They even did a weekend brunch, but actually it ended up shutting down and it looks like it's been taken over. The marina's still here, and they're working on it, it looks like, actually right now. And I've seen signs too as well for Carefree Boat Club out here. And for those not familiar, we're starting to see a lot more of what I like to call these timeshare boat memberships, where you pay a membership and you can, come out and use the boat for the day. And I see signs here. And as well, I was just on the other side of the lake the other day. And for those familiar where Frayed Knot was, it looks like they're actually going to be out there as well. So we're seeing more of those out here on Lake Murray. All right, let's talk about homes on Lake Murray. So I isolated single family, no mobile homes, manufactured homes, or condos. And it had to be livable, as there were some sketchy fishing sheds that they were advertising as single families, but to me, that would more be just buying the land. And with that said, I will make an entire video about land costs and custom builds in the area in the future. And I'll include the cost of land on Lake Murray in that. But before we do, let's talk about the 360 line again. What's more important than that is that while 360 is full capacity, on average in the summer, the lake sits around 357 to 359 feet. During the summer season again. Now every winter, they do draw down the lake for preservation purposes. Typically this is only a few feet, but every 5 years or so, they go down about 10 feet. With that said, there are definitely homes that lose water during the winter. Some lose it every winter, and others only in the large drawdowns. And that's why it's important to understand this. Now, as an agent, we can help you determine how much water you have at your dock to determine whether or not you're going to be able to keep your boat in the water year round, or if you're going to end up with your boat on dry land in the winter, as trust me, I've definitely seen this. With that said, these next homes are advertised as on Lake Murray. Some may include homes that have a dock, have a shared dock, or maybe not have a dock at all. As of course, some in the coves don't have enough water even during the summer, or they didn't have enough water frontage for that dock, or they were in one of those protected fringe lands area that did not allow for docks. So we get kicked off with the Saluda area. Sold was 23 single-family homes, ranging from 825 square feet up to 7,934 square feet, from 225,000 up to 1.45 million. Average is 685,000. Average 286 per square foot, and an average of 49 days on market. Now, as far as the active homes, the time of making this, there was 9 active homes, ranging from a 940 square foot, 3-bedroom, 1-bath home for $389,000 up to a 3,552 square foot, 3-bed, 4-bath house for $999,000. Average of all of them was around $736,000 for the active one, which brought it to an average of $397 per square foot. The Newberry part of Lake Murray. Sold, there were 32 single-family homes, from 852 square feet up to 4,161 square feet, from $335,000 up to $1.65 million. Average of $715,000. Average of $380 a square foot, and an average of 51 days on market to sell. As far as the active homes, there were 15 homes from a 3,004 square foot house, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, stating it could use about $70,000 in updates, listed for $599,000, up to a 5,400 square foot, 6-bedroom, 5-bath house for $1,545,000. Created average of $964,000 and a price per square foot of $362. Now we dive into the Chapin and Irmo side of Lake Murray, including Lexington and Richland County. There were 106 single-family homes from 1,144 square feet up to 9,986 square feet, from $365,000 up to $3 million, with an average of $1,027,880. Average of $330 a square foot, and an average of 47 days on market. As far as the active homes, there were 38 homes at the time of making this, from a 1,904 square foot, 3-bed, 3-bath house for $570,000 up to a 5,035 square foot house, 5 beds, 5 baths on 0.6 acres for $3.2 million. On average though, homes listed for $1.2 million in the area with an average of $412 a square foot. Now we dive into the Lexington part of Lake Murray. Sold, there were 63 homes ranging from 650 square feet up to 8,198 square feet, from $390,000 to $3 million. An average of $1,013,140. Average $382 a square foot, and an average of 39 days on market. As far as the active homes at the time of making this in the Lexington area of Lake Murray, there were 24 homes ranging from a 700 square foot, 2-bed, 1-bath house for $440,000 up to a 6,053 square foot, 5-bed, 5-bath home on 8.874 acres, listed for $3,300,000. On average though, the homes listed for $1.5 million with an average of $411 a square foot.